So, many of you guys might not know, but the martial arts was actually invented by accident. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, there was a village of farmers, and they got attacked by an army. But they didn't have any weapons. They didn't have any guns. They didn't have any knives. They didn't have any airplanes or warships or submarines. Yeah. Thousands of years ago, they didn't have that kind of stuff, Justin. So, they decided, well, these people come in and start pushing us around and they're trying to take our land. We can't let that happen. We have to fight back. But all we have are our hands and our feet. So they started to learn how to fight. And they started to practice fighting with each other. They started to learn how to punch. They started to learn how to kick. They started to learn how to block and move. And they started to learn how to defend themselves using their hands and their feet. And then they decided that their hands and their feet weren't enough weapons. They needed actual weapons. So they looked and they said, we have this thing, and we use it to poke holes in the ground before we put the seeds in the holes. They looked like they could be weapons. They called it a sai. And they took two of them and they held them in their hands and they started to learn how to fight with them. Then they had this thing that they used to flail rice with, and it was two sticks with a chain in the middle attached to each other. And they said, hey, that could probably hurt someone. And they started to learn how to twirl it around, and it became the nunchuck. And then one day they saw, they had this guy, and he had a long stick on his shoulders with a bucket of water on each side. And he would carry his water like that, and they took the buckets of water off, and they said, wow, a nice long stick. Bang! Oh, yeah. I could do some damage with that. And they called it a bow staff, and they started to learn how to twirl it around. And it became a weapon. They even had something that they could hold in their hand, and it ran along their arm this way, a piece of wood this way, and a handle that they could hold. And they could switch it around, and they could hit with it, and they could block with it. You know what that was? There was a handle for a well. They pulled it off, and they started to use it for a weapon because their lives were in danger. So they had to invent. And that's where martial arts came from. It was invented out of necessity. Pretty much like everything else. Like the iPhone. So, what happened was they started to train, and they started to train more and more and more. And the day came for the war, and they won the war. With their bare hands and their weapons that they created and all their training, they won. And then there was peace. But they realized something. They realized, stop playing with your gloves. They realized that when they were training, they got stronger, they got faster. They realized that their minds became more powerful. And they started to develop self-discipline and courage and confidence. So they said to themselves, you know what? I think we should keep training here. We should keep doing this stuff, this martial arts stuff. It works really well. And it stuck around for thousands and thousands of years. From times of war and from times of peace, the martial arts have been around for thousands of years. And they decided that obviously training in their regular clothes wasn't a good idea because their clothes got beat up and dirty, so they had a uniform that they started training in. And the uniform was open in the front. So in order to keep it closed, they had a sash. And they took a white sash and they tied it around to keep it closed. And everybody had the same basic uniform with that same white sash around. And after years and years of training, there was a time of peace, but they said, hey, let's see which one of us is the best. So they had a big competition, a big tournament. And at the end, the person that wound up winning the tournament, he was the best. And when he looked at his sash, from all the years of hard work and training, his sash had turned from white to brown to black. From all the dirt, blood, sweat, and tears that he shed on that sash in his training to get so good. And that is where the black belt came from. And they realized that was so good and his sash had turned to black. And they realized that when you're not so good, your sash is brand new and white. And that's where the belts came into play. And then they started handing martial arts down from generation to generation. And a father would teach his son. And then a grandfather would teach the grandchildren. And they handed it down from generation to generation. And they developed a belt system. Because they realized when human beings have a goal to work towards, they work harder. They realized that when you take a human being and say, all right, this is where you are, and I want you to train really hard to work on getting this one little thing, all of a sudden human beings became a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and their minds became more focused. And that's where the belt system came from. And every single time that I see you guys get a little bit more focused, have a little bit more non-quitting spirit, and get a little bit faster and a little bit stronger, that is when I give you a new reward, and I ask you to set a new goal for yourself. So if I was a white belt with no stripes, what would be my first goal? Dakota? To get one stripe. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to work to get that one stripe on that white belt. And every time I get one stripe, I'm looking to get another. After I get 4 stripes on that white belt, what is my goal? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get good enough to get a high white belt, which is a white belt with a thick black stripe down it. And when I feel that you're ready for that high white belt, I take it out, I rip off the labels, and I say, Caroline up front. She takes her time walking to the front of the class, stands at attention strong. And as you get your high white belt, you'll notice that it has no stripes on it.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And what you want to do is you want to train so hard and develop so much non-quitting spirit and get your punches and kicks so good that one day after class, I give you your first stripe on that high white belt. Can you do that? Say. Say. Stand right over here. And then, after you get 4 stripes on that high white belt, you will really have to prove to me that you have amazing non-quitting spirit. And you'll have to show me proficiency in your basic techniques. When I say a jab cross, you throw a good jab cross. When I say throw your round kick, you turn your hips. When I say throw your front kick, you have a nice ball of the foot. And when I know that you will not give up on me, and I know that you have all those basic techniques down, that's when I know I can promote you to your blue belt, which is your first really huge achievement as a young person. Let's have a big hand for Ali. Awesome. Think back a couple months ago when you first started, you look at how much better you've gotten, look how much more focused you are. Look at the non-quitting spirit that you have. Very proud. You know, good work. Attention strong counsels. And then as you don't give up, and you keep your discipline and your focus, and you earn those 4 stripes on that blue belt, and then I watch, and I check and make sure that you have enough non-quitting spirit to be a high blue belt. Me here up front.